welcome back. It's now 10 before the top of the hour. It's time for your tropical update. I'm Kristen Dodd. Warren Madden is in Hurricane Central, and Warren, we have two tropical storms that we continue to track. What's the latest?
That we do, Kristen, and we're seeing in the eastern Pacific one storm that is scraping along the Mexican Riviera. In the Atlantic, or now the Caribbean, we have a tropical storm that could very soon be hurricane force, and we could see a new hurricane on our hands here before too long, so be prepared. We're watching perhaps what could become the second hurricane of the Atlantic 2007 season. And that's Felix. Right here we see Felix, and we're looking at both systems now. We'll take the broad perspective. And first, a quick trip to the eastern Pacific to show you Henriette, which is moving northwestward roughly along the coast of Mexico, around the Mexican Riviera. And then as we come eastward, here we are in the Caribbean, and there we see Tropical Storm Felix, which came through the Windward Islands. Fortunately, it was a very small storm when it did so, and so the winds at islands such as St. Lucia and Barbados, not all that strong. Great news. But unfortunately now it's in the eastern Caribbean and it is gaining strength. Here's the latest advisory. As of the 2 p.m. advisory, the storm up to about 70 miles an hour, tracking off to the west at about 18 miles an hour, and it's running roughly parallel to the South American coast right now. It's west of the Lesser Antilles, but now moving along the coast of Venezuela and could have an impact on the ABC Islands, Aruba, Bonaire, and Curacao. Normally, you are south of the major hurricane track, but sometimes a storm will maintain a track along a low latitude and can affect the area, and there is a tropical storm watch in effect for the ABCs. Here's the center tracking its way westward. Still not seeing really an eye feature pop out yet. We'll see if we see that pop out as we get later in the day and into the evening hours if the storm does continue to strengthen as it is forecast to do. So here's the overall details again. As I mentioned, moving west at 18 miles an hour. Last advisory showed the central pressure now dropping below 1,000 millibars to 999 millibars. Aircraft from the 53rd Weather Reconnaissance Squadron are flying the storm. There'll be a new one going in for the what's called the 0Z fix, the start of the new day, Greenwich Mean Time, and that will happen. That's 8 o'clock Eastern Daylight Time, by the way. So we expect to have more information from new plane going in sometime in the 7 to 8:30 range, and as soon as we have that information, we'll let you know. The next advisory from the Hurricane Center is due out at 5 p.m., so we should have that in the next hour. Now here is the projected track of Tropical Storm Felix, which again could be Hurricane Felix before too long, and as I said, roughly parallel to the South American coast, and then takes a bit more of a northwesterly turn. And unfortunately, on this forecast track, it could impact the same areas along the Mexican and Belize coast that were affected by Hurricane Dean just a couple of weeks ago, so we'll have to watch that carefully. Let's go to the eastern Pacific, and speaking of the Mexican coast, West Coast style, we're talking about Tropical Storm Henriette, which is tracking roughly parallel to the coast, top winds at 50 miles an hour, bringing some very heavy rains to the mountainous areas here along the coast, and that has caused some mudslides. The forecast track for this system, as we look at the satellite picture, roughly again parallel to the coast and then turning a bit more northward, and there lies in the problem, because as we put up the projected track for Henriette, we see that if it stays more on the western side of the projection, it stays out to sea. Eastern side of it, though, Cabo San Lucas in the southern end of the Baja California Peninsula.